In today's globalized world that's all about big cities and urbanization, we often forget how the world used to look before the amazing technological advancements. We also all dream of getting away from it all. The hustle of the urban jungle, the stress, the noise, and pollution. But there are communities that are so far away from civilization that it's hard to believe. When residents of these remote communities say they live in the middle of nowhere, they're not exaggerating. There are places out there with no connection to the outside world, and it may take days just to reach there, but people still live there and go on with life like any other human. So let's check out the most isolated communities at the end of the earth. But before we get into that, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Number 1. Yakutsk, Russia. Starting with the coldest and most isolated part of the world, Yakutsk is the capital of the Yakutia region in Siberia. The region covers more than 1 million square miles, but it's home to less than 1 million people. This means there are enough lakes and rivers in the region for every resident. The region is divided into multiple administration centers the size of an average U.S. state, and many of these only contain one inhabited village. What can be scarier than cold and isolated places? Getting to Yakutsk is certainly a mission impossible. Interestingly, the only road leading to Yakutsk is only open in the winter. The alternative option to reach it is via river, but that's only possible in the summer. In a warm winter, the temperature drops to -30 Celsius at best, with -50 Celsius temperatures being completely normal. Number 2. Iquitos, Peru. This community is buried deep inside the Amazon jungle. Iquitos is surrounded by hundreds of miles of inaccessible rainforest. It's so deep in the jungle that it would take you around 4 days of boat riding just to reach civilization. Iquitos has one single outward road which dead ends in the only neighboring settlement 65 miles away. With 400,000 residents, Iquitos is the largest city on the planet that's not connected to the outside world by road. People here have to import everything, which makes the price of everything very high. If you somehow end up here, you better pray that the only airport connecting this city to Lima doesn't get closed down due to weather conditions. It would take you forever to go back to civilization, as it is very easy to get lost while traveling away from this place. Number 3. Tristan da Cunha. Tristan da Cunha is the most remote inhabited island in the entire world. It is over 2,000 miles away from South America and 1,700 miles away from the nearest coast of South Africa. It is actually a remote group of volcanic islands in the South Atlantic Ocean, which includes Go Island. Only 297 people currently live on the volcanic island. This place is so isolated that it has no restaurants, hotels, or airports. The only way to reach Tristan da Cunha is by a 7-day boat ride. You might not find much human contact there, but the reportedly remotest island is where adventure awaits. All of the residents live in Edinburgh of the Seven Seas, which means that only a small portion of Tristan da Cunha is inhabited. Cruises to Tristan da Cunha can temporarily increase the area's population, but no one new is allowed to move to the island without the approval of every permanent resident. Number 4. Inhabited, Greenland. The whole country of Greenland is pretty remote as a whole, but Inhabited on the eastern coast is definitely the most isolated town in the country. Inhabited has 450 residents, only one grocery store, and hunting and fishing are still a way of life among locals. This region is home to seals, walruses, narwhals, polar bears, and Arctic foxes. A helicopter can take you there from Nurleret in that airport. Once you arrive, getting anywhere else will be a challenge. Greenland is practically one gigantic piece of ice with challenging weather, and roads are basically non-existent. If you wander out of town in any direction, you'll soon find yourself lost in a wilderness of ice. This town offers tourists a chance to dog sled and kayak. Number 5. Oymyakon, Russia. This remote Russian town is known as the coldest inhabited place on Earth. Its 500 residents live in darkness for 21 hours a day with an average temperature of -58 degrees. It's impossible to grow crops there, so people live on reindeer meat, frozen fish, and ice cubes of horse blood with macaroni, according to Wired. Imagine having to eat macaroni for the rest of your life. No matter how much you like it, you will get tired of it. Indoor plumbing is also tricky since the water freezes, so most use outhouses. Getting there can take several days. From Moscow, a flight to either Yakutsk or Megiddo is the closest you can get, and both are over 560 miles away. The road from those cities that leads to Oymyakon is called the Road of Bones. As the name suggests, you shouldn't drive there alone. Number 6. Easter Island, Chile. Easter Island, which is a Chilean territory, is a remote volcanic island in Polynesia. Its native name is Rapa Nui. It's famed for archaeological sites, including nearly 900 monumental statues called moai, created by the people during the 13th through the 16th centuries. The moai are carved human figures with oversized heads on stone. You must have seen the pictures on the internet. Its economy runs mostly on tourism, as people from around the world make the 2,300-mile journey from Chile to have a look at them. 3,300 people live on the island. The residents slightly outnumber the stone figures there. LAN is the only airline with flights to Easter Island, with prices starting at around $900 from the United States. So if you ever want to visit the place, you know where to start with. Number 7. Utqiagvik, Alaska. Utqiagvik is the northernmost city in America and the 9th most northern city in the world. Formerly known as Barrow in Alaska, this town lies well above the Arctic Circle and is a very remote and cold town. Although the weather is extreme, archaeological evidence indicates that people have been thriving in the Utqiagvik region from as early as 500 AD. The headland was explored in 1826 by Frederick Beechey. The warm season in Utqiagvik lasts a mere 3 months, with average high temperatures measuring 2 degrees Celsius, and the cold season, which lasts almost 4 months, on average the temperature drops to negative 16 degrees Celsius. Starting in November, the sun sets in Utqiagvik and does not rise again for roughly 65 days. It is called the Polar Night. The population of the place is 4,429, and according to them, it's normal in the region. There are restaurants, hotels, a dry cleaner, even a bank and a fur shop too, so if you ever want to visit the place, don't be afraid. Number 8. Megiddo Island. Lake Victoria, the largest lake in Africa, is home to one of the most isolated communities on Earth, Megiddo Island, as well as various types of fish and wildlife. Made up of mostly fishermen, a population of 500 lives on the island, which is roughly half an acre in size. Not only is the island inaccessible to most without boats, but it's also a compact fisherman's slum. The surrounding deep water is home to large numbers of Nile perch, which provides income for fishermen. Living on the island is hard because it's incredibly crowded. Houses made of recovered tin and other materials include most of the homesteads. There are 4 bars, a hair salon, several brothels, and a tiny port. Prostitution is very normal there. There are some people who have a cellular advantage, but the signals are lowest at best. Number 9. Villa Las Estrellas, Antarctica. When one thinks of Antarctica, images of endless ice and penguins come to mind. One does not often associate people with this continent, but some individuals do live in the icy region. Villa Las Estrellas, dubbed the Stars Town, has only 14 homes, 1 banker, a post office, a school with 2 teachers, a gym, and a church. Yes, it does have a gym, and it's very full most of the time. There's also a modest souvenir shop for tourists wishing to memorialize their visits. The population is small, with only 15 residents during the summer and 80 during the winter. People serving time on the base are only there for 2 years maximum before returning to the Chilean homeland. The island is a Chilean town. There is a hospital on the island that is equipped for basic life-saving procedures with a lab, anesthesia machine, operating room, sterilizer, etc., and also a pharmacy is available. Not only is the island remote, but to live there for a longer period of time, you also need to have your appendix removed for whatever reasons. Number 10. Coober, Pedy, Australia. The Australian outback is one of the most hostile, unforgiving places on Earth, with its high temperature, red sand, and animals that can easily kill you. So you must be wondering who in their right mind would live there, but Australians are known for being different. The people of Coober Pedy have avoided all those difficulties by going underground because why not? About 70% of the world's opal production can be traced to this location in the middle of the Australian outback. Coober Pedy also gained the title Opal Capital of the World. It is hard to mine in the scorching heat, so to avoid that, people take up residence in underground homes called dugouts that keep them warm at night and cool during the day. 2,500 permanent residents of Coober Pedy are still thriving in their underground world. Approximately 60% of the population in this industrious town is of European descent, and over 45 nationalities make up the community. Coober Pedy has all the basic services, including water, electricity, law and order, medical facilities, and education. The hospital has 24 beds and works with other medical practices in nearby locations. Tourism is a big part of their economy here. That's our list of the most isolated communities at the end of the world. Can you survive at any of these places far away from civilization? Tell us in the comments, and if you liked the video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel.